Hi, since your husband, boyfriend, partner, etc. You know the drill. Hi. You are so masculine and you're so strong. You want to know what would take it to the next level? Is when someone's not done talking, you wait for them to stop talking before you say words. It's so masculine to wait and to listen. Yeah, and to listen. And sometimes you don't have to say things.
So there's a lot to unpack there, but that just made my skin crawl. The whole thing is just painfully cringeworthy, and it's so condescending as a man. Like, why are you speaking to adult men as if they're toddlers? And why do you possibly think that's going to compel them or speak to them rather than repulse them, offend them, and push them in the opposite direction? I mean, I can't imagine a better way to make people not take your advice. And that's what bothers me about this video is I actually agree with the point that not all, but a lot of men do interrupt women very often and do have a habit of speaking over women in workplace conversations and other things. I've observed it myself where my co-worker or colleague will say something and then everyone will not notice it. And then I'll say the same thing 5 minutes later and they'll be like, oh, good idea. This is a thing. Sexism and these kinds of habits are real, but this seems like the worst possible way to try to address them because it just makes men feel defensive and condescended to, and it's insulting and reductive and just seems to have the absolute opposite of the intended effect. Speaking down to straight men and villainizing them and honestly like treating them like they're idiots and acting like everything about them is wrong and problematic, rightly or wrongly, and I don't support this, but that's why we have Andrew Tate. That's why we have the red pill movement, the extremes of which are openly sexist and very hateful towards women. Well, that didn't come out of nowhere. It didn't pop into existence out of a vacuum. It happened because a lot of men out there feel condescended to and feel judged and feel attacked and feel like there's not a way that they're allowed to be masculine and not be judged for it or not be viewed as problematic or whatever. And stuff like this does not help. Maybe it's meant somewhat as a joke, but it's really not funny and it really does rub men the wrong way. And then 5 minutes later, people like this will be like, oh my God, why are all these men going red pill and becoming so toxic? It's like, well, you kind of push them into the hands and the arms of those toxic people in a way over the years with this really just annoying and maddening and insulting content. I'm not saying that excuses it. I still think people should be smart enough to reject toxic ideologies like that peddled by the Andrew Tates of the world, but it does explain it to some extent. And it seems to me that you should be wiser than to engage in this kind of thing if what you actually want to see is harmony between the sexes, for sure. But I don't think that's what people like this actually want to do. They know that the people who are liking and clicking on this and sharing it is all just women, and the men who see it will just be annoyed by it for the most part or offended by it. And they don't care though, because they'll get views, they'll get some money from it, they'll build a brand off it. And if it actually in some small way just makes gender relations worse and antagonizes men, okay, well, I'm doing fan service for a female audience and I'm profiting from it. So hope that's worth it for you, babe. I hope that is. And this isn't some aberration. It's unfortunately typical of this person's content. This TikToker makes videos like this all the time. It's like a little content niche or trend, and I just find it incredibly, incredibly obnoxious and destructive. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe you found this video lovely and delightful. Do feel free to let me know.